Hey, good morning, Georgia. Welcome to Community Focus, where every week we focus on a different city. We got so many great cities, Faith, around our state, and people can find a home there. They can run for city council. They can serve on a committee. They can get involved with their community. So many great charities that help fill in the gap for folks, to give them a hand up. People have difficulties in their life. Where are we at today, Faith?
We're in Winder. We're in Barrow County today.
Yeah, great.
So,
So we'll have Pat Hutchison, who has for years. I've known Pat for 10 years. For years, they've been part of the supply chain for clean energy, not just in Georgia, but all over. Welcome, Pat.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here. Glad you're putting this on.
Yeah, we'll have Kim here today. She's a part of Piedmont CASA. And Kim, I used to serve as treasurer on the Piedmont CASA when I was in downtown Jefferson, and it's a fantastic organization that really helps kids that sometimes get lost in the system. So we appreciate you being on today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us.
And Faith, you know how much I love cars, and our family owned the car auction, and I worked at a car dealer, and I'm just a car freak. And Sammy is working with a very unique charity that helps get car donations, repair them, and provide them to single moms or women that have been in very difficult situations. And I'm excited about it because it keeps these women from going to car lots where they maybe get charged 30 or 35% interest, and they get a junky car that winds up getting repossessed. And it's just not something that women that are coming out of difficult situations need to have to deal with. So, Sammy, we're very excited to have you guys up. You're doing more and more. Proud that this is happening so close to where I live.
Thank you so much for having us and letting us talk about our mission.
And we've got Ben. Let's put everybody in the green room. We're going to leave Ben McDaniel up. Ben, you're awfully proud of things over there in Barrow County, as you should be. We're going to discuss some economic development projects. We're going to talk about downtown Winder and how cool it's become, the restaurants that you guys have, and the beautification stuff that's happened. Of course, you've got 316 running right through Barrow County, and I can't tell you how thrilled I am to see those bridges crossing over 316 for decades. It's been one of the most dangerous highways in the state. And let's start with that. All of that's getting fixed, isn't it, Ben? Are you glad to see the bridges?
Yes, and our chairman said this previously, that we're probably in the decade of orange cones, and orange cones and silt fences to us means progress. So we're excited about it. From Kilcrease Road all the way down towards Oconee County. There are plans to just increase, not necessarily increase traffic, but deal with traffic and increase our industrial development down through that corridor. So we're excited about it. It's frustrating at times dealing with traffic and whatnot, but we know the greater good is down the road. It's going to make a more accessible Barrow County for everyone.
How important is that 4-lane coming through your county and attracting business? Because I'm sure as people fly in to look at different places in Atlanta, they come down, they see that, which is essentially an expressway. I mean, it doesn't have an expressway designation, but how important is 316 to Barrow County?
Well, we always talk about Barrow County's perfectly positioned for success. Mainly, it's between 85 and 316. We're right there in between them. And we also have the West Winder bypass that's about 70% finished. In that, especially with what's going on in Jackson County with SK, being able to provide that transportation from 85 through Winder to 316 and cut off a large portion of that. So 316 is vastly important for us to be able to have that access to not only University of Georgia, go Dogs, but also down towards Atlanta and the airport as well.
Yeah, it is the University Highway, isn't it? I remember when I was in college, 316 didn't exist, and I would come 29 right through all of those towns: Auburn, Statham, Bogart, and speed traps in all of them. So they make. I think they funded their all their developments off of the backs of college students who's speeding through their towns.
It's like that.
Yeah. So So let me ask you about the SPLOST money. I know that these counties really can do some special projects. What are you guys cooking up over there?
So to really talk about what we've just finished up and what we're adding on to this SPLOST, we had a large, and this is economic development at its finest, quality of life matters to folks. If you're going to relocate a business, you better have a place people want to live at. And in Barrow County, we had a big Victor Lord Park expansion, which saw 3 additional fields go in, 1 multi-purpose turf field and 2 other grass multi-purpose fields, a dog park as well, additional parking. And we also saw both Appalachia and Winder-Barrow High School have turf fields installed, and that's through a intergovernmental agreement between Barrow County School System and the Barrow County government. So having working relationships helps as well. But what we're trying to, and all of this will be on the ballot come November, but what we're looking at, and I'm a member of the Barrow County Citizen SPLOST Committee, is we're looking to have some jail and courthouse expansions, but we're also looking at Victor Lord Park to have a splash pad put in and possibly a skate park as well, and possibly some funding set aside for some either passive or active, some passive recreation south of 316 as well.
You know, Faith, I tell you, I take Cade to splash pads. I think the splash pad has become the new swimming pool, hasn't it been?
Exactly. Just from a cost savings, splash pads are going to save you considerably a lot of money. In general, around the state, I know Francis Meadows and Gainesville and Cherokee County, and as well as the city of Cumming have amazing aquatic centers, but they're expensive when you run them.
Yeah, of course.
So splash pads are accessible and easier to install and use less water.
You know, after major events like the Olympics, right? Everybody's been watching the swimming. So you're going to have this, I think you're going to have this surge of swimming lessons and swim teams and pools. You remember Hunger Games, how, you know, Faith, did you go out and buy a bow and arrow after the Hunger Games and start shooting at targets? Did you do that?
I didn't, but your daughter and I seriously considered going in costume to one of the premieres. Yeah. So I know Annie, my daughter, got a target and a bow and arrow, and the quiver and the whole thing is sitting up on a shelf collecting dust in my garage. But you know, Ben, it is amazing how media, movies, Olympics can kind of start a trend.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. Not only did I channel my inner Hunger Games and go for trail runs here at Fort Yargo, but in the past couple of years, we had HBO's The Outsider film right here in downtown Winder at the historic Barrow County Courthouse. So out this window where I sit right now, that's where Jason Bateman was killed during the show. So it was really cool to see all the extras and see the county staff members take pictures with Jason Bateman and other stars from the show. But seeing all the extras that are your friends, that are chamber members and community members that are lined up yelling at people during the show. And it was pretty cool to see Barrow County and put it on the map from a film standpoint.
Yeah. Faith, have you ever gotten into a movie as an extra, or you ever got yourself in trouble running into a movie filming? I know y'all do a lot over there where you're at.
Yeah, I'm from Covington, so we are the Hollywood of the South, and I have been an extra when I was very little. We back to one over and over and over again. We were walking behind a scene, like not anything important, and they sent us back to one to walk the same route hundreds of times when I was a kid. But Commissioner, your daughter was an extra in the Vampire Diaries the weekend I got engaged. That was
she never told me that.
Yeah, that was all part of the plan for my engagement. She came down and stayed with me and was an extra, and then we ran a color run the next day.
How come I'm just finding this out, Ben?
I don't know. My colleague, Madison Dean with the city of Winder, she's their economic development director. She was also in Vampire Diaries as well. So
really? I wonder if they were in the same episode.
Yeah. I gotta text her when I'm done with this. Well, Ben, wrap it up by telling us anything you're really excited about coming up in Winder-Barrow.
Well, in Winder and Barrow County, Winder's just a nice place to visit, a great place to live here in Barrow County. We have nice stuff. We have great restaurants. We have high-end restaurants. So if you have that business meeting or that nice date, you want to come to downtown Winder, from the bistro off Broad to the cafe at the lobby to Latin flavors, and you can have, drinks on top of the roof and overlook most of Barrow County. It's a great place to be.
Great.
And we appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thanks. Well, keep up the great work down there, and maybe I'll see you as I pass through, because I come through there an awfully lot heading over to Athens. So Barrow County, I got a grandson over there, and my son and daughter-in-law are there in state.
Commissioner, you mentioned driving through and students getting tickets. My first speeding ticket when I was a college student was in Barrow County.
Wow. Yeah. I have bad memories of my kids' speeding tickets. No telling how much I've paid State Farm of my kids. See, when you have 7 kids, it gets ugly. It gets ugly when you have that much. So,
especially when so many of them are boys.
Yeah. Well, my girls haven't exactly been, calm either. So, all right. Great, Ben. Thank you. Let's bring Sammy in. Faith, we kind of teased this, that Airborne servants, and I know Jonathan, and have tried to help him. One of my masters is a nonprofit organization. So I love to see creative charities that get a niche. And certainly, having been in the car business, having, our family own the car auction, I know when a person gets in credit trouble, then they can't get a traditional loan at a decent interest rate. They kind of go into that secondary loan market, and then they wind up really paying a lot. They get a junky car, and it just becomes this burden for single moms in particular. So introduce our next guest.
So this is Sammy Dixon. She's with Airborne Servants, like you said. Sammy, tell us a little bit about the unique services that Airborne Servants provides.
Absolutely. So our services actually started in our founder. The seeds were planted as a child. He was raised by a single mom of 5. And when their dad left, she struggled to get to the grocery store, to get the kids to school, to be involved. He just remembers her and the impact it had on her. And when a family member gave them a car, the way John puts it is his mom cried a little less. So from that, in 2016, we were founded. We work to partner with other nonprofits in the area to provide single moms, many of whom are survivors of domestic violence, homelessness, substance abuse, trafficking, and exploitation, with reliable transportation so they can get to the places that matter.
I love that. Get to the places that matter, because, that could be church. It could be counseling. Faith, these women that are rescued from trafficking, they have counseling the rest of their life. I mean, when you're sold 10 or 15 times a day, the stuff these women go through, being hit by men, being coerced, having, your life threatened, your child's life threatened, your mother's life threatened. There's not a harsh enough penalty for these guys that are abusing these women. The least we can do collectively, all of us, is to help them get transportation, for goodness sakes, to be able to get where they need to go.
Well, and we also work a lot with the Forcera ministry, and they specifically work with women who have been in the sex industry or who have been trafficked, who have children. And that adds a whole another level. That's the same clientele that you guys work with. That adds a whole different level of difficulty to the recovery process. When you also have to care for your children.
And we found that our intent was to help the single moms, but we're not only changing the trajectory of their life, we're changing the trajectory of their children's life. We're trying to get them bonding ties in the community. And we've even found that by happenstance, that the ripple effect of this is that we've had moms that have gotten out of the human trafficking that went back in with the vehicles we provided to get others out. And that's amazing. The stories that we have are amazing. So we just gifted our 67th car since we started, and we have given over 2,400 Lyft rides. Our total impact from 2018 is 664 women and children. I mean, that's amazing. Amazing. And that's just going to continue to increase because they're building up the community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sammy, tell us about if there's somebody watching that says, hey, I want to donate something to help with those Lyft rides. How does that work?
So we know right now, based on data, that the average Lyft ride is about $18 one way. So we provide Lyft rides for the women that aren't in a place yet where they can get a car gifted, and then we use the funds that we do get elsewise to give them cars when they get to a more stable place. So we always say, obviously, you can donate. Money is always the best right now, just so we can look at vehicles. You can donate vehicles. We accept vehicles running or not, or anything on wheels. And then car safety kits. We know these moms don't know how to take care of their vehicles. So just little things like tire gauge checks, duct tape, flashlights, all these things, jumper cables, anything that you have that would be of use.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for all that you're doing. And where can folks find out more about the ministry?
Sure, www.giverides.com. Or you can call our office, 678-203-5365.
Yeah, we're going to put that across the bottom of our call
Giverides.com.
today, giverides.com. So, Sammy, thank you. Let's pull Kim in. Kim, I know you work with children that get lost in the system with Piedmont CASA, and how cool is what Sammy's doing, helping women?
Yes.
Isn't that great?
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about Piedmont CASA. Faith, you're very familiar with it because you worked in the court system. I was treasurer for that very Piedmont CASA that Kim's in right now. So set this up for us, Faith.
So Kim, tell us first of all, what CASA is. And what you guys do in the lives of children that are involved in the criminal justice system.
So CASA is a nonprofit. It's a little bit unlike other ones because we don't ask for one time, come and volunteer. We ask for a little more time from people than most places. But what CASA stands for is Court Appointed Special Advocate. And for us, it's a Court Appointed Special Advocate for children in foster care. So what our CASAs do is they go through a 6-week training, and we teach them really how to be a CASA, what to expect as a CASA, how to write a court report. And then once they get sworn in by the judge, they get assigned a case. And when they're on that case, their job is to really talk to everybody in that child's life and that child to know and understand the child's needs better than the people that are currently working the case that are busy with a lot of other things, because this child is the volunteer's only case that they have. And then once they get that information, they put it in our court report and it gets sent to the judge. And that court report really bases a lot of the best interest decisions that the judge makes on that case.
I have a brother that's a magistrate judge, so he's not dealing with this, Faith, but we know a lot of judges. My colleague, Chuck Eaton, has just been selected by Governor Kemp for the Superior Court judge. And Chuck himself fostered a number of different African-American babies whose mother had used crack during the pregnancy. These crack babies. It's a very sad situation. And Chuck and his wife eventually adopted one of these children. And it's really just, it's the ultimate rescue. It's the ultimate rescue when you have a family like the Eatons save a child like that. Kim, I don't know if you've seen these statistics. We've heard this on the Unholy Tour that about 90% of the women that either are trafficked or wind up working in prostitution have come through the foster system. And we just got to do better by these kids, don't we?
Yes, absolutely. And the children that are assigned CASAs, and that's one of the things that makes CASAs and having a CASA for these children so important, is that the children that are assigned CASAs have better outcomes. They don't have the same statistics as the children that we see that did not have a CASA there to help figure out what their needs are and get them voiced in court.
Because there's an individual person that's with that child through the whole thing. There's one stable factor in that very traumatic process.
And as
Kim,
our judge, our judge likes to say that the CASA is the one person in that room that has no other agenda. They're not paid. They're there on their own accord, and they're the only person in the room whose only job is to state what the best interest of the child is.
When I was on the board at Piedmont CASA, I mean, these CASAs that get the training and get into it, they love this job. They love it. I mean, they do sense their importance. extremely fulfilling, yet maybe one of the best kept charity secrets in the state. Kim, when's the next training coming up, and what does a person need to do to become a CASA?
So this is perfect timing. Our next training begins August 26th. So to become a CASA, all they need to do is go onto our website. It's just PiedmontCASA.org. Go onto our website, fill out the volunteer application that's on there. And then once they do that, I'll contact them and I'll get them set up to do the training with us. We're always looking for more CASAs.
And does a person need to have any legal training to be a CASA?
No. And that's the amazing thing. I love that we take these everyday community members that are retired teachers, current teachers, nurses, stay-at-home parents, business owners, and they have no legal experience, no court experience, because they don't need it. We're going to teach them everything they need to know. And all they need to have is just a love and a desire to help these children.
Yeah, incredible. Faith, why don't we send out a note to our Unholy Tour list, and let's let them know about this training coming up, the nexus between foster care and trafficking, and the success that Piedmont CASA has had. Let's see if we can get a few folks involved. So,
Absolutely.
Kim, thank you very much for all you do.
So much.
Everyone that watches our weekly stream, you know that we have a Good Citizen segment. And that was Kim. We have a human trafficking segment. That was Sammy today. We have a city update. That was Ben. And we have a clean energy done right segment. It's our privilege to have Pat Hutchinson on from Cant Sink, CANTSINK. Pat, you and I have known each other 10 years. You guys have been part of the supply chain for solar energy. And wow, have you gotten busy over the last few years, huh?
It's been pretty incredible, the amount of solar and the renewables that are going in place. It's pretty outstanding.
Pat, as people drive by a solar field, and there's none that's getting more attention right now than the big one on I-75 that is just south of that Warner Robins exit. And they look over and they see, they see solar panels going in. These racks of panels are, they generate energy best if they're in the ground, if they're at a certain angle, to the sun, obviously facing southwest. But you have a unique product that screws into the ground like a screw instead of being cemented into the ground. Tell us about that pile.
So they're called helical piles. They're put in the ground with a torque head, and essentially as they go in, you can identify how much capacity they have, and you're using them to support solar or many other products. The best part about it is you can eliminate the concrete that's needed. And a lot of times when putting in a foundation, it's equal to or greater than the capacity of the concrete. Concrete and cement itself is hugely impact on the environment because of the way that it's manufactured. The amount of energy that it takes to manufacture cement is pretty huge. So we've been able to replace that. All of the material that goes into our products has been recycled, and when the life expectancy of these projects are done, they can be extracted and recycled again and go right back into useful terms, unlike concrete.
Wow. Pat, Georgia will be fourth in installed solar in 2024, so we've made great progress. But your business goes far beyond Georgia, doesn't it?
It does. We're all over the place. We've found a very good niche in doing testing on solar sites to see what kind of foundations would best be used at these locations, all throughout the Southeast, mid-Atlantic, as far north as New York, Minnesota, the Dakotas, Texas. We're putting them in all over the place and testing these sites all over the United States. One of the main places that they're used is in the battery storage and the containers with very heavy loads, but also for the solar panels themselves.
Yeah. So last question, the composition of what you're putting in the ground, do you ever have to vary the composition of that based on acidic levels in the soil or the different soil types?
Yeah, absolutely. So we manufacture multiple different diameters for strength laterally and for the compression and tension. We generally coat everything with galvanization, and occasionally we will do a secondary on top of the galvanization, an epoxy coating, just depending on the acidity of the soils.
Wow. How can folks find out more about CanSync?
They can go to our website at cansync.com.
Great. CANTSINK.com. Well, thank you.
And we have it
Yeah.
scrolling.
Yeah, we have it scrolling. Thank you. Pat, thanks for your fantastic work. I think we're going to continue to see solar play a big role in the state of Georgia.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Kim, we're gonna push this training.
Thank you.
I think there's certain people that really would be blessed by doing this. So we want to make sure we get it in front of them. And let's put it in my newsletter as well, Faith. Sammy, man, if you've got an old Prius out there, folks, these are great cars for these moms. Faith, I've had so many Priuses. They will run and run and run. They get 50 miles a gallon. Such a blessing. And then we've got great guys like Steve Middlebrooks at Hayward Allen that will provide some service at a discount for them. So that would be those Toyotas. Those Toyotas are great. So thank you, Sammy, for your good work.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Ben, man, this is what you need for somebody in economic development. You need a cheerleader. You need somebody that loves the town, and you've even got a piece of art behind you that you took a photograph of your courthouse.
Yes, sir. I love Winder. I live in Winder. I love Barrow County, and I go on long distance runs around the county, and if the right timing hits, I'll take a picture of it. This past Sunday, I took a picture, and Glenn Burns from the news shared it, and it was a spider web saying, "I heart you." I was like, "I love you too, Spider." So I was internet famous for a day. So
yeah, wow. Was it Charlotte's Web? Was that the movie Faith? Charlotte's Web?
Yeah.
The spider. Oh, I think maybe I cried in that film way back. Let's not get into that, but kind of sad. But anyway, y'all have a fantastic Thursday and a great rest of the week and weekend. So really appreciate everything you guys are doing out there. Faith, where are we at next week?
Next week we'll be in Dublin, down there in Middle Georgia, and then the week after that we'll be in Commerce. SK Innovation was mentioned earlier. We're going to have them on, and then the week after that we'll be in Toccoa.
All right, sounds great. Hey, y'all have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.